All right, welcome aboard everyone. My name is Erik O'Brien with the Boat Specialist from Richmond, California. I'm actually all the way down in Ventura today to show off our Grady-White Marlin 300. This is a 30-foot boat with a 10-foot 7 beam, and what that achieves is perfect stability. You know, we had a ton of people on this boat today. I think at one point we had 6 or 7, all on one side, all on the other side, and you can't even notice it upsetting the boat. One thing you'll notice as you look back towards this transom is the transom door. So this thing, you know, you just pull the handle, rotate down, and you have perfect access to your dive ladder, and you have a wide open swim step here. So although you have the 2 giant outboards there, these are rigged with Yamaha's digital electronic controls and digital electronic steering. So not only does this boat have fly-by-wire throttle and shift, but it also has fly-by-wire steering. What that allows us to do is hide all of the rigging underneath these looms. So all you have here is fuel line and harnesses. You don't have shifting cables, you don't have big, ugly steering rams on the front of the motor. And it allows you to really clean up the swim platform. So one of the activities that I love to do out here at the Channel Islands is spearfishing. And when we're spearfishing, we're jumping on kelp patties, we're going for bluefin tuna, we're sitting back here on this platform. When I've got, you know, big long freediving fins, a loaded spear gun hanging off the transom, a ton of gear, dive knife, all that stuff, the last thing I want is more things to catch myself on as I'm jumping off the boat and go after those fish. As you're chasing a fish back here around the stern of the vessel, you can utilize the padded combing bolsters to your advantage. You can kick your toe underneath the tow rail, work your way all the way aft and all the way starboard to port. You always have something to grab onto. You always have something to brace your knees against. And as you get to the transom and you're fishing, you can run your line all the way around those twin 350s and there's really not much to snag. Worst case scenario, you end up in between the motors, but there's no steering cylinders sticking off port and starboard of the motors, so you can get your fishing line in and out of there really easily. Another thing that makes this transom section of the boat so great is a massive storage compartment that drains completely overboard. The entire cockpit is self-bailing, including all the storage. So all this storage, you know, typically boats drain to the bilge. This boat doesn't. Everything drains either overboard or through these large deck scupper drains. Everything on this boat drains aftward and overboard. So anything that ends up on this deck, rainwater, fish blood, you know, spilled beverages, so on and so forth, none of that stuff is going to end up in your bilge. It's all going to go straight overboard. One of the most annoying things is after a day of fishing, washing the boat, and then climbing down into your bilge on your hands and knees, you know, pulling stuff out of the bilge pumps to get all that stuff to drain overboard. You know, sometimes you've got so much debris coming off the boat that it'll clog your drain plug and you have to get way down in the bilge, pull all that stuff out. This boat, that's just not the case. It's not even an issue. You can hose everything off and it drains straight overboard. We can't come out here to the Channel Islands and talk about Grady-White without talking about fishing. This boat is equipped with 13 rod holders all around the cockpit, all over the hardtop, down and around. You have 360-degree coverage of rod holders all throughout the cockpit. Not only that, you also have rod storage up under the gunnels. So I can put 3 fully rigged fishing rods up under the gunnels, out of the sunlight, keeping them protected, keeping them dry, out of the salt water, out of the sun. Another aspect of this cockpit that makes it great for fishing big tuna here on the West Coast, tuna, swordfish, marlin, you know, the trophy fish that you buy this boat to go fish for. We have this massive dive door. Just imagine the size of fish you can pull through that without having to go over the gunnel. I mean, if you have to go over the rail, it's a pretty good day. All right, as we work our way around the cockpit, there is a ton of storage under these aft-facing seats. So you've got sink on one side. You can split the compartments. You can have dishes on one side, sink on the other. Use it as dry storage, use it as a cooler, use it as a sink. This acts as a cutting board, as your little bait table. So as you're preparing your bait, if you're using frozen or preserved bait, you can handle all of that there. Keep your hands nice and clean with fresh water from the sink. And once again, all that debris, all that detritus drains overboard. It does not drain into the bilge. So nothing to unplug, nothing to clog, just a straight pass through. Down under that sink area, we got your tackle station. So we have all these removable plastic tackle boxes. And what this allows you to do is take them all home. You take delivery of your brand new Grady, take all those tackle boxes home. The first thing I would do is rig up my kit for wherever I'm gonna be fishing. I like that you can remove them from the boat, go plan your day, and bring them back ready to go, pop them into place. You're not having to transfer tackle to and from. Makes life a little bit easier. And all around this boat, you'll notice little hidden storage areas. Down under this step, you have a little drawer, just solid hardware, solid material. Nice satisfying click back into place. You'll notice these cushions are all removable, revealing quality stainless hardware, very thick, robust fiberglass hatches. And underneath here, it's not just storage, we've got your bait well. Today we put about a half a scoop of California anchovies in there, and they stayed happy and healthy all day long, no problem. We probably could have got away with quite a bit more, but sometimes less is more. Over here in the port quarter of the boat, we have our battery switches and controls right under this convenient hatch. So you've got your windlass breaker, you've got your main 50 amp breaker, and you've got both battery switches. And having this easily accessible right underneath a hatch, not tucked behind a bin, tucked behind way back in a battery compartment, all you have to do, hop on the boat, flip those switches on, fire up your engines and go. It's that simple, and just the ease of access and the thought out use of space on this boat just makes it a pleasure to hop on, fire it up, and get off the dock. The last thing I want to do when I hop on a boat is stick my arm shoulder deep into a compartment to find the battery switches to turn them on. I like to just be able to open the door, boom, they're right there. As we work our way up to the helm of the vessel, you'll notice the giant, robust, comfortable captain chairs. These have solid bolsters, some nice lumbar support, while still being pretty breathable for those hot days. All the hardware on these seats is rock solid. As you raise and lower the armrests, as you raise and lower these bolsters, everything just clicks, clunks firmly into place. There's no rattles. There's very little play. Just extremely high quality. One of the more annoying things on a boat is when you hop into a cheap helm chair and it's rocking all over the place, it's creaking, it's rattling. You won't have that problem on these boats. Having those multiple positions gives you the ability to operate the boat standing or seating. That's pretty standard across the industry, but what Grady-White does that's a little unique is everything is adjustable. So not just the bolster folding up, but the height of the seat, the swivel of the seat, the tilt of the helm. So as you push this lever, the helm rotates up and down. So if you're really skinny, if you like to drive the boat really close to the wheel, you have that ability. If you're a little bigger like me and you need a little more room to spread out, you can tilt this wheel any which way you want it, so you still have access to that nice destroyer knob when you're docking. Or if you want to get down low, if you have all the canvas and the windows open, you're gonna have some airflow up and over your head through the hardtop. You can sit down low, adjust the wheel, adjust the seat, and get out of that while still having some nice ventilation. We've opted to outfit this Marlin 300 with all of the features from Yamaha. So not only do we have digital electronic controls, digital electronic steering, we also have Yamaha's full maneuverability setup. So we have autopilot. So we've got, all your traditional autopilot features. You've got heading hold, course hold, track point, and pattern steer. So you can set this up to do like any kind of search pattern, a Williamson turn. You can set it up to fish a specific pattern. If you're bouncing for halibut, you can set this up to do the exact, course you want. Super slow, taking advantage of those twin 350s to clunk in and out of gear and just creep and crawl along as you bounce the bottom for halibut. And on top of the autopilot that is integrated to your Garmin display, all of this stuff talks to each other. So you have your autopilot controls pop up on your Yamaha display. You also have them pop up on your Garmin MFD. So everything is integrated, everything talks to each other, everything's networked. And what that allows for is seamless transition between the screens. You don't have to worry about if one screen is on autopilot mode or not, or so on and so forth. At a glance, anywhere, you can tell exactly what modes the boat's in and go about your day. Ease of use and user-friendly operation is the thing that Yamaha does best, of course, on top of reliability. And this boat is testament to that. So now, let's address the elephant in the room. You'll notice this boat's been driving itself for the past 5 minutes or so. This boat has the Helmmaster EX joystick set up. So if you look over here ahead of the Yamaha throttle, you'll see our Helmmaster EX joystick. Right now, we have it on stay point mode. So when stay point is activated, this boat will hold itself on position, on station, without you at the helm. So if you pan back towards the motors, you'll notice they're opposing, and you can hear them subtly clicking in and out of gear. And what they're doing is they're fighting a pretty strong current, keeping us right on point the whole time. So let's say we're docking at a boat ramp with some nasty wind and some current, and we're single-handing. This is a really big boat, and it's probably easier to single hand than my old 20-foot center console. You can just put that stay point on, go handle all your fenders and lines, get it ready to rock, and then go tie up to the dock as easy as it can be. Oftentimes, more beginner boaters are intimidated by the sheer size of this boat. It is heavy, it's got a lot of displacement, it's got a lot of beam, but I can take someone that's never operated a boat, train them on that joystick, and they're docking it in no time. Granted, it's always good to know how to drive the boat with the traditional controls. The joystick's never a replacement for knowing how to operate a boat safely, but it's an added tool in the arsenal, and in some ways it is a bit of a get out of jail free card. So as you look down towards the dash on the console here, all your switches are illuminated, labeled, and easily accessed. So at night, these are all softly backlit. You can make out the logos and you can make out the lettering showing exactly what each switch is. You don't have to fumble, you don't have to turn on your cabin lights in order to read the switches. That's huge. It's subtle details like that that can save your night vision when you're leaving the marina at 3 in the morning to go out to the islands. We've chosen to outfit this boat with a Garmin VHF radio, which is equipped with AIS receiving. So you can see all the commercial traffic in and out of the marinas, in and out of the shipping lanes. So as you're crossing out in the dark, you can kind of cross-reference with your radar marks and your AIS marks and get out to the island safely in the dark. Even if someone's poorly lit or completely unlit, I've come across dozens of boats in this channel that don't have nav lights in the dark. It's always a little nerve-wracking. You don't know which way they're going. Sometimes they'll have AIS transceiving going and no nav lights. Sometimes you'll see a radar mark and nothing else. It's always good to have an added level of information at your disposal to identify what those marks are on your screen. And back to the Fusion audio setup, this boat has its kind of main display down in the cabin. So as you're all closed up for the night, you can still have your access to your radio down there. And there's all the different zones. You can have the cockpit super loud and the cabin a little soft and subtle, or you can have them completely off, completely on, any layout you want. If you're set up for the night in Avalon on Catalina and you don't want to wake up the neighbors, but you want to listen to some tunes, you can do that from down in the cabin without, you know, blasting the volume out across the water. One of the things that makes the Marlin 300 such a popular boat and such a great choice for our, you know, inconsistent weather out on the West Coast is its huge cuddy cabin. So I'm 6'2". I can sprawl out on the main V berth on either side of the V berth or in the quarter berth, fully stretched out, no problem, super comfortable. So this boat easily sleeps, you know, two people up in the V berth, another person in the quarter berth. You can cram more, but that's, you know, a comfortable night. And we're equipped with an electric Kenyan cooktop, a microwave, really nicely set up countertop and sink. This boat is equipped with a full stand-up shower and head compartment. You know, I'm pretty tall, and when I get in there, I could comfortably take a shower. There's not many 30-foot cuddy cabin boats that I can say that. Most of the time, you know, we're cramming a head and shower on a boat more to say it has a head and shower rather than to actually have it be usable and comfortable. Grady-White's gone above and beyond and made that compartment truly comfortable and truly usable. One of the benefits of having a 10-foot 7-inch beam is the room to have a big comfortable walk around. So as I step up on this nice non-skid step here, grab a rod holder, grab around. Let's say I have a rod in one hand and I'm climbing around. I can always grab onto something. There's plenty of areas to provide stability. And then once you get to this point, you've got, you know, thigh-high stainless rails up around the bow. All right, now we've made our way up to the bow. As I was saying, having a 10-foot 7 beam gives you a ton of accessibility and safe access to your bow without having to, you know, climb around a skinny rail or climb up and over or up through a hatch. Just being able to walk up forward is a huge benefit on a 30-foot boat. Typically with cuddy cabins, with walk-around style boats, you sacrifice a lot of the safety of going forward that you would be familiar with on a center console. But Grady-White's done a fantastic job of leaving just enough space to get up forward comfortably and safely. One of the tasks we're faced with constantly at the Channel Islands is anchoring in tricky conditions. Having all your windlass controls at your disposal, all up at the bow or from inside the helm, gives you the ability to single hand with confidence. So let's give a real world example. Let's pretend this rock wall here is something we're trying to keep our stern from swinging into. We can take advantage of the Yamaha Helm Master. We can hit that stay point button, sit in place while we walk up here safely. We undo our snubber line on the anchor chain, set that off to the side, and now we're good to go. Now all we have to do is pop up these buttons here. And those are my foot controls for the windlass. So with one person on board, all I have to do is prep that, get it ready to go. And now I can either go back inside and pay attention to my electronics, look exactly how deep I am, or if I'm relatively confident how deep we are right now, and this is where I want to drop the hook, I can do it from right here. All I have to do is press one of those buttons, let the anchor go, set the hook, and off we go for a safe night out at the islands or wherever you choose to anchor. So Grady-White has integrated a lot of big boat features into this 30-footer. There's a lot of things on this boat that are, you know, more commonplace on a 45-foot Viking or something of the sort. One of those features is a freshwater washdown all the way up at your windlass. This is one of the coolest things on this boat. So you unscrew that cap and you've got your freshwater washdown. So I don't see a lot of 30-foot boats that have this feature. This is incredible. A freshwater washdown on the bow is just a small feature that makes a world of difference. And it can save a lot of cleanup of your anchor locker after the fact. So you can use it to wash down the boat with the hose that Grady supplies you. Or you can use it to, what I use it for the most is washing off your anchor rode as you're retrieving your anchor. So as you're, you got your foot controls here. As you're pick the anchor up off the bottom, you've got your hose in one hand, hand on the rail, you're spotting the anchor rode, you're spotting the direction, you're also retrieving, and at the same time, you're hosing that anchor chain with fresh water, limiting corrosion and limiting all the muck and mud that comes up with that anchor chain traditionally. One thing you'll notice about this bow is, we've got this big bulbous cabin top here, but Grady-White's used the space really smartly. They've put big, nice, comfortable cushions here. So not only do you have all the seating afterward, but you can also get some privacy, get some space, and enjoy a drink, enjoy your meal up here with unobstructed view of the ocean. So great place to hang out, really comfortable. One of the features that makes this boat so comfortable is not only do we have a full wraparound windscreen, we also have ventilation on the windscreen itself. So I know you've spent time rolling up your isinglass, doing the little snaps. This boat has that, port and starboard. You don't have to do that. So if you're, going out, leaving super early in the morning and it's cold, you're gonna want everything buttoned up. You're gonna wanna stay dry. But as soon as that sun pops up and the cabin turns into a greenhouse, having some fresh air is huge. Grady has supplied 2 windows that actually open, prop out, and perfectly direct airflow towards the driver and the passenger. So, subtle features like that just make this boat a pleasure to operate in any condition. So I'm a pretty poor fisherman, but I love to dive. Diving's my #1 hobby, and getting in and out of the water comfortably, being able to hose off with hot and cold water at the end of a dive is that's a diver's dream. So having a shower right here. Got your shower nozzle, you can stand in the cockpit, let it drain out the scuppers, or you can stand on the swim step. A lot of boats of this size have a shower in the transom. Not all of them have a water heater. So having hot and cold is just an added level of luxury that makes your life so much better. I'm not kidding, it can extend your day another 2-3 dives with just how nice and how relaxing it is getting out of the cold, freezing Pacific Ocean and getting a nice warm wash down after the fact. You've got raw water, so seawater and freshwater washdowns right here, easily accessible. So you just have to make sure your switches up at the helm are turned on. One thing that's really awesome about having your freshwater and raw water right in the same place is when you're spending a week out at Catalina and it's busy, it's middle of summer and you don't want to spend a ton of time at the fuel and water dock, you use your raw water washdown, get the deck 90% of the way there, and then come back and chase it with the fresh water. You just swap the hose over, chase it with fresh water, so now your deck is all clean, it's not salty, and you've only used a few gallons of water. This boat has a massive freshwater hold, but when you're spending that much time out at the islands, you do want to conserve. So having those easy access is the way to go. So now what we've all been waiting for, the performance of this boat. Grady has outfitted the Marlin 300 with their trademark SeaV² hull. CV stands for continuously variable dead rise. So what that achieves is, the bow of the boat, your approach angle, your entry is really sharp. And as it tapers back towards the transom, it mellows out continuously. There's a lot of hull designs where those transitions aren't continuous, aren't smooth. And you have different sections of the boat that perform differently. And, in certain conditions that works really well, but in all conditions, the SeaV² hull works well. I haven't found a single type of ocean conditions. I haven't seen a single sea state where the SeaV² hull doesn't perform exceptionally well. You have really aggressive chines. With that smoothness of the SeaV² hull, the continuously variable dead rise, the aggressive chines provide that lift and stability, where the continuously variable dead rise provides that kind of shock absorption characteristic. And having it mellow out towards the transom makes the boat perform really well down swell. So as we were coming back into the marina today, it was a really smooth day, not a lot of wind, but there was some swell. And as we were pointed down swell, even kind of quartering seas, the boat tracked dead ahead, perfect, zero bow steer. Just an overall really confidence inspiring ride. It eats up, you know, up to 3-4 foot chop, no problem. And once it gets a little bigger and you start riding up and over swell, it's just, it tracks dead ahead. There's nothing to worry about. It's pure safety, confidence, and comfort. All right, everyone, thanks for watching our video on the Grady-White Marlin 300. As we wrap up here in Ventura, I just wanted to showcase the stay point. So our Captain Josh right there is completely hands off the helm. The wind's blowing a little bit and the motors are keeping us right in place. We're drifting around a little bit, but this is one of those situations where if I was alone on the boat and I needed to get my fenders out, if I needed to get my lines prepared, I can press that button on the helm, get everything set up, worry-free, and then when I'm ready, go tie up to the dock. Once again, I'm Eric with the Boat Specialist. Thanks for watching our video. And if you want to see one of these in person, come give us a visit in Ventura or Richmond. Location's on our website.